Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Human Performance Lab. My name is Tony, and you know what? We're just going to get right into this session. I don't even think I'm going to do a introduction or anything else. I don't think we need to. I think we're just going to get into it. So, I have had a couple of questions from the Discord community that would like me to look at their charts and go into what it is that they are doing with questions. Let's see if I can find the charts real quick. Here we go. Here is one right here. Okay, so hold on just a second. I'm going to be right back. I need to grab something real quick and I will be right back. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so let's get into this chart. So first of all, let's just get context, right, of what we're seeing. So price is coming up, makes this high, comes back down, comes in below this area on this pullback, right? Pulls back into this area, continues its short. Keep that in mind. As it's coming down, it comes back and tests in this area too after it closes below it. Comes back and tests back into this area. Keep that in mind. Then price action reverses. Starts to head back in the opposite direction. Closes above here and just goes. Closes above this area. Makes a lower low and comes back. And we are trying to short these areas. And the question that came along with this chart is this. Also from auction market theory, you would think of the, wait. It's this one. How it didn't work out, can you please explain what should I have looked for to filter out, as according to my analysis and also in 4-hour time frame, I can see at least $1 move. I have seen the order flow, but still got stop loss 2 times. What should I next time keep in mind? So in this context, right, you need to keep in mind the context of current market condition. Right here, you're making higher highs and higher lows. Just shorts. Yes, you did. Yes. So I just explained the market condition, right? And I wanted to do this at this time. So it would be easy for you to just replay this video if you weren't here because it's right there in the very beginning. So I just talking about the context, right? And then we start making higher highs, higher lows. We break out of this range. We break out of this range. At this point in time, in a short-term chart, we're trending higher. Now, you can say that this is merely a test of this, but you haven't made lower lows. Here you do make lower lows, but you close back out of this range again for here. And yeah, you have the wicks. And if you want to take these, that's fine. There's no problem with that. But make them scalp trades, especially if you're entering like here and here, phenomenal entries. And if you're taking those entries and you notice a long trend, move your stop to a break even once these lows are closed, or once these lows get broken, right? Once this low gets broken. Why? Because if this moves back into the trend and snaps back on you, you're stopped out, but you didn't take an expense. Hey, Ram, how's it going? It's good to see you. Hello, everybody over at TikTok. Welcome. If you have questions, concerns, please let me know. We're just going through a members chart from Discord. They had some questions regarding what was going on in the context of this chart and going short here. So I'm just going through with them options to keep them out of these positions. So because you recognize the trend, either stay out of these types of positions, wait for a reversal pattern, or you can treat these as scalps, even have 2 contracts on, depending on what size you trade with this, right? You take one out as these lows are being broken. Someplace in here, I would probably index this low and right above it, okay? And then as price action is coming up here, you do exactly the same thing here. That way, you've got one off, you've got a little bit of revenue, and your stop is back to break even, okay? Because most of the time, if these go, right, it's once these lows are broken over here, even here, right, it's not coming back to your entry point. I guess this one does, but you have a place to re-enter when it does. Okay? That would be my suggestion on these positions. But the key is to understand overall the market condition that you're in. And this is an imbalanced market condition higher from this structure. Have we broken this high yet? No, we're trading imbalance. Okay? Trading imbalance. All right, a range, but you haven't made any lower lows in this time frame, except for here, and even then, you close back above this range again. Does that help? Jake, how's it going? Welcome. It's good to see you. Alicia, thank you for joining. Appreciate you. If you have any questions, please let me know. Just shorts, you good, or do you have another question on this? For shorts, it's better to wait for confirmation of presence of sellers below low volume node, posted screenshot in Discord for reference. Yeah, let me get to that in just a second, Ram. Absolutely. I was looking for 4-hour EMA rejection, so I thought these 2 points could be a sell continuation, but to my surprise, the whole day was stuck in a range, full day choppy. And that's the key, right? So I was looking at 4-hour EMA rejection, right? But look at this market. I don't see the prior move over here, so I don't know what's happening before this, right? But you break out to above and you break out below again, and then you stay in the context of this range. Hey, US, how's it going? It's good to see you. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate you. Thank you for saying hi. That's absolutely awesome. I haven't seen you come in before, so welcome. Hello. I hope you are well. How are you doing today? Everything good? And so I can't see the context, right? But not just a 4-hour and not just EMAs, right? What do? I utilize multiple time frames in this market, right? And I'm looking for value. Like today, I recognized an area of chop today, and the market was pretty choppy until we broke out of that area. And then we continued the trend from the 30-minute chart. I don't know what this market did here, but it's continuing its trend from a 5-minute perspective. You know, it's very difficult to expect a short until something has set up in this area. Can you use order flow? Definitely. But order flow, if the momentum doesn't come in, tighten your stops. Reduce the risk to absolutely minimal. That way you're at least break even, if not a little bit more. You're at least break even, if not a little bit more, right? And as you're doing that in that context, when you get into one of these and it runs, that's your revenue, because now your revenue is not offsetting your expenses. Next time I put to break even, but I have fear that I will get out and trade will go on leaving me. It might. That's what happened to me today, right? But I had a reentry. I just didn't get into the reentry because I'm not fully committed to my trading because I'm doing a lot of teaching, right? But the reentry was there. And most of the time, if you move your stop to a break even, the reentry will be there. Or if it moves like this did, it will give you a place to re-enter farther down the move. So just practice those ideas, right? I'm not saying that's what you do. I'm not saying change your plan, right? What I'm coming to you with is a perspective, a different perspective. You're seeing short in here. I'm seeing a trend. Here's ideas that you can use to test in the lab to see what works best for you. Does moving your stop to a break even work for you? Or is it better to recognize the overall trend and stay out of it until the market turns around and breaks out and gives you some indication that it's changing direction, right? Once you change that direction, then you can turn around and look for the shorts. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. This gives a better context, right? So here's your up that we were just looking at. Here's the down, right? Then it comes in here. This right here is a much better signal for a short. Why? You broke the highs here, doesn't close above, gives you rejection and a down bar. In here is going to be some form of high volume someplace. Over here is going to be high volume someplace. If you look at this pullback, I would almost bet that over here someplace in one of these four areas, this bar, this bar, this bar, or this bar has some form of high volume that this pulled back to. That is a good signal for a short. Because see what happened, right? As the market's coming up through here in this trend, right? We get this rejection. You break below this range right here. You just made a lower low and you closed below it. Now you have confirmation of the down, but you don't get in at the confirmation of the down because now you're getting in too low of the range, right? Now you have risk of a pullback. So what do? You wait for your pullback. And if you do that, I almost bet you that someplace in this bar, someplace in here, there's high volume. Yeah, by delta was really high up there. Yeah, but delta at the same time though, right? See, you're missing what you're doing is you're coming back to me with the pieces that you're seeing. What you're not doing is bringing in what I'm saying. It's two different things, right? Because I will say something and then you'll bring in what proves the reason for you going into the shorts here. Okay? You came to me and asked me, what can I do differently? I'm giving you ideas. You're coming back with, well, yeah, but this. Well, yeah, but this. Well, we can do but all we want to, because what does the word but do? Negates everything we just said. So what you're saying is, I would like you to take a look at this and see if there's anything I could do to keep out of this. I give you that and you say, but, and you just negated everything I just said, right? That's the key here. You got to empty the cup a little bit so you can be open to new information. I'm not telling you what to do here. What I'm saying is you've got a trending market condition higher and you're trying to go short at the highs. That's the problem. Now, how do we fix it? And it doesn't matter. Rising delta. What does rising delta mean? That price can still go up because delta's rising. Right? So price can go up. But what is price telling you here? Rejection, not up. That's the difference. Okay? That's the difference. Because price came up here, but where did it came up and it was a nice big buy bar. It looked great until it didn't. Because we didn't close up here, we closed down here. And I'm not saying this is a reversal bar to go short on. I'm saying here we closed below. So now we have rejection, we have a close below, price action is coming down, and we come back up and we test. And I can almost guarantee you on this someplace before this, between the high and the close on this bar, somewhere in this bar, this bar, this bar, or this bar, there's high volume that this bar came up and touched. That's your confirmed rejection. Even though delta is going up, price action is not continuing that. If delta is going up here, price action's continuing going up. But here, price action's not continuing up because buyers aren't aggressive at the highs. Beautiful. See, you opened yourself up to new information. That's amazing. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, now I get exactly what you're saying. Yeah. My thought, identify if there are any failed auction on buy bar, let price repair it with high volume below it. Ram, that's an excellent way of interpreting it for yourself. Most definitely. Now take that statement and test it, right? Don't just take this information, guys, and say, oh, I'm going to change my plan. Test it in the lab. TikTok, let me get back over to you. Struggling with losses. Oh, well, yeah. Thanks, Olivia, for that. I appreciate it. Struggling with losses. Join my Telegram group and learn smarter recovery setups. Yeah. Recovery sounds great. Thank you for sharing. Sounds like fun. All right. Let's get into another chart. I know somebody else gave me another chart here because they're just talking about it. RAM. Let's see. What are you looking at? Yeah, exactly, right? So you come up, you're trading in value, right? And so you have a nice ranged value day here. Price actions coming up into value area high, comes down into, kind of a VPOC area here, right? Rejects, comes up to value area high, rejects that. But then here, we don't make it back down to value area low, okay? And so price actions now making higher highs, but we don't close above the range and we start to fail again. Come right back down into unfair lows, low volume node, right? There's your long. 100%. Absolutely. Now the squiggly line and looking short here, not sure exactly what you're looking at other than this segment here, right? But price at that point is still in value. Can you take a short here if you want to? Sure. But if I'm looking at this chart and I'm looking at this setup and I'm just looking at it, right? My perception. We're coming off value area low. I'm anticipating the market to continue to be rotational because it is rotational in nature still. It's going to come up and probably test value area high. That's the only reason why I wouldn't want to take a position short here because we're still forming a full area of value. Even though we didn't test value area low here, we did here. We rejected, right? And then price actions continuing up and we're still getting closes higher. All right. So I would just be careful with trying to short here. But if I was going to short here, I would be turning this into a scalp, not looking for it to come back down into value area low. And if I miss that position, that's fine. But if this turned into more of a reversal type setup, kind of like what you have here, then I would scalp that down. I mean, I can take a short only if there is rejection below low volume node here. If not, it will not look exactly. Yes. If you have rejection, and I wouldn't even say rejection below the what are you saying? The low volume node here. Oh, yes. I see what you're saying. Yes. You're looking at a close below and then a continuation play to the downside. Yes. Because what happened is your range in this area of value is pretty much from here to here, then to here. If you close below those two lows and pull back into this low volume, 100%, open it up for a short. What's your risk? When you rotate back up into value area high, what do you do then? Then if it closes above this area again, then you can look for a long position. And if it starts to run into a consolidated phase where it's really balanced and tight in here, then you just turn around and take your 2 expense trades if that's what it did and wait to trade another day. Does that make sense? I see your question now, but yes, absolutely. Close below this area right here, these 2 bars. Yep. Does that help answer your question? And just short, did I answer your question? Yeah, and Ram, I'm also looking at your other chart here too, right? For an entry off of VWAP, that's where my second entry was going to be. And this short here, as we talked about in the live, right? I was really looking at this continuing to the long side because I had that area um of follow through, right? Or expectant follow through. Um and so I went ahead and went long here in this area. And then I put a stop in and got hit, right? But then I started going in long after that and ended up the day in revenue. $793 today in micros. I mean, I can take a short only if there is rejection. Okay, yeah. And then I was too influenced by my setup that I totally forgot that to look for market structure as well. Yep, 100%. You know, and that's the whole key, right? I will get too narrow-minded in my short-term chart sometimes and forget to look at the long-term perspective because, you know, we're hunting for positions in here, right? So we get hyper focused on this time frame. And the moment we're hyper focused on this time frame, what's going to happen? We're just going to be looking for entries here. And when we're looking for entries from here, we're going to forget the higher time frames and the market condition that we're in. And it happens. All right. Any other questions? Any other charts anybody wants me to take a look at? Anybody anywhere have any charts that they would like me to take a look at and what they're doing? You can take that and you can do !Discord for my people in TikTok. Let me get you a link real quick, and you can take that link and you can join Discord and you can give me a chart and I'll break it down in my perspective. Again, not to say that I'm right or anything else, right? To be able to give a different perspective on the charts, and then you can take that information and see if you want to incorporate it into testing your own plan. Might go short on NQ now. You know, I was looking at this. You know, it's a possibility for a short. Here's my only issue. My only issue on a short, right? We're still trading in this area of value and we're still in an uptrend on the 30-minute. We haven't broken that trend, right? In the short term, have we broken lows? Yes, we have broke lows. But have we closed below those lows? No. So we don't have any seller follow through around the lows. And without that follow through, you know, my thing is it's too easy for this market to find buyers to step back in, right? And you also look at the longer time frame. We're not that far away from value area high. But let's look and see if that value area has shifted lower, because that's a possibility too, right? So let's look and see if it has. And then do we have an unfair high up here? We do. Right there. Low unfair high up here, right? We have a low volume node, and you extend this out over to the right, you have value area high, you're in unfair highs already. Here's your low volume node here. Price action is just trading above that right now. Then we have this one here that we're trading at. So a short here, We can, you know what? Let's go ahead and watch this and see if a short develops. I like the idea. Let's do it. So let me get this over here. Let me open this up a little bit so it's easier for everybody to kind of see the numbers. I need to keep it kind of tight though, because we need to be able to index this low. Because I need to close below that low. And we just had a close at. We have our high volume here, right? Which could be acting as possible support. Alam, good afternoon. How you doing? Trading day is going well. It's going well. A good day today. Had an expense in the 1 hour of trading that I do in the US session. From 9:40 to 10:40 and ended up the day with 793 in revenue. So not too bad. And now we're hunting for a potential short. And what do we have here? We've got support below us. So let's wait. Where is our resistance? Right here. We don't have a close below us. But if I was hunting for a short right now, I'd be looking for a test into this area. And that's going to give us a little higher high, right? Now I'm looking at buyers, okay? So we have 207, basically 200 buyers up here. I want to see what the buyers look like at this high. Almost there, right? We have about 150 right now. Now we're right in the 200 range, right? And price action's unable to make a higher high. We can short one now. Just one, in case this snaps back, because we're down here at support, right? But if this thing goes, we have something on, okay? And then if we come back up here, we can add into the position. And by adding into the position, we're bringing our entry back in right above or right below or right at resistance. So as it's coming through, it might snap back down to this area. But if it trades through, then we have a chance to go lower. So put one on and wait. Wait to get in with potential size into the market. And so let's just kind of watch this and see what happens. Got more buyers here now. We have 120, 92, came right into the area. It's got some buying pressure in here. See how we faltered there? We turned into a down bar. Reason to add another. I'm going to add one more into this area. And unfortunately, I'm not at one there on my quantity. So we're going to need to get out of quite a few of these. I want to be out of 21 of them. So what do? Bring our target right down here. So now we have 41 that we need to get out of. I'm short, long, no. Because it's moved where it's at, let's put a stop, bring it down, cover our position, move this to 4, and now we go short. See what happens when you make a mistake on the dome? Don't get crazy. Don't get all kind of worried about it. Manage the position. I'm in a worse of position that I was in before, but I just picked up revenue on the mistake. So it doesn't matter. Manage your positions while you're in them. That's the whole point, right? If we get crazy, if we get, stressed out, what's going to happen? We're going to create losses. We're going to create stress. We're going to create an environment that's not conducive to trading what the charts are telling us. And in my account value that I'm going to have for the eval, I can have 180 to 200 of these contracts on. And so being in 41, 42, not that big of a deal. So now we're coming in with buyers in here, right? So now it's snapping against us, okay? Here's our resistance. We came right back up through it, rejecting. If we come back below here in a down bar, guess what I'm going to do? Make sure my quantity is at 1, and I'm going to sell another one. But not until we get a down bar through resistance. Because now we have seller participation at lower prices. We're right up here hitting the resistance, but it has support right here, right? So we have support and resistance. So expecting a little bit of rotation in this very tight area. So I don't want to short there. If it wasn't for the support here, I would be shorting there. I took a trade at 1021 from the fake out of the orb targeting the value area high of the initial session open for New York. Well done. Great trade. And I love the fact that you're targeting, that value area high on the initial session open. That's phenomenal, right? So now you have a longer term target instead of just your scalp that you would be using on a shorter time frame. Well done. I knew there was an imbalance at earlier dump, but I completely ignored it. Absolutely. Well done. Back up here to the highs, right? Immediately rejected. If buyers are strong, they're going to hit the support and make higher high. Higher high on the intraday bar. Buyers are strong, anticipating this high to break. And if it doesn't break and we come back down, we should get through support. And there's your break. Buy a tick. Buy a tick. 500, 600, 64.56, hitting support. Do we get buyers to buy in these higher prices? That's the question right now. And then what happens if we don't and we get through the support? What does price do? 223 sellers. We have 800 at the low right here. If we break this on low volume, we have reasons to enter more. Oh, you got stopped at 100 due to reload at the initial attempt. So you added, and in that add, you got stopped out. Is that what happened? My question is, if you added to your position, why didn't you move your stop? And now, mind you, in this position, right, we do not have a close below this range, okay? So buyers are still in control of this area. We're early to this attempt, right? But we're reading order flow, and order flow is getting us in, and we're going to manage the position through order flow. At 100 in profile and profit. Okay, gotcha. So I trailed your stop. Okay, yeah, you trailed your stop. Exactly. And sometimes that's going to happen, right? You trail your stop a little bit too soon, a little bit too early. Watch it. If you find yourself trailing it too early or too quickly and you're getting stopped out in too many positions, adjust the way that you're trailing your stop over time, right? That way you can increase your expectancy. But if it's not negatively affecting and impacting your trades over, let's say, 30 trades, and why 30? Because 30 is the minimum number to have statistical relevance, right? Once you have 30 trades, now you can turn around and say, okay, what do I want to do here? Do I want to make an adjustment or do I not? And the only way to know that is to, I missed it. I was talking. I wasn't prepared for the drop. That's okay though. So I wanted to add a couple more and increase my entry. In fact, I'll do it now and show you guys, right? I can do two more, right? Now I'm increasing my entry. My entry is now increased over these areas right here. I can go ahead and put 2 in now, and I'm short, so I want to put a limit order, and I want my limit order in here just below this low in case we find rejection here. That still leaves me 4 on, right? 2 off here, reduce my risk of exposure, right? Increase my profit target where it will increase my entry on those 2 entries, where it makes it a little bit more attractive for profit down here to get out with a 2, reduce the overall risk, and I'm still in with 4 with a little bit of a better entry. Not as good of an entry as if I would have entered right through the break of here like I wanted to, but still a better entry. And I only did the entry here just to demonstrate exactly what it is that I'm talking about. So you can see the better entry. You can see how it all works out, right? Not as well as if I could have entered up here, but still good enough. Do I recommend deep charts over Addis or Atas or however you pronounce that? I don't know. No, not really. I think they both do their jobs just well. I'm using deep charts because I was watching a streamer back in May timeframe, that they were the streamer that kind of got me back into trading in the first place, because I was just looking for ideas on to stream, and I ran into some traders. I didn't even know I didn't even know they were out there streaming, right? Back and when I was running trading rooms and stuff in like 2010, 2012, we couldn't do it public like that, but we also didn't have a public platform like you guys do now, like we do. So, they were using deep charts, and I really liked the idea of the bubbles, not to trade the bubbles, but to give a visualization to the larger trades, right? And then you have to decipher if they're really larger trades or not. But that's a different story. But Atas does pretty much the same thing. I got Atas, and then I moved to deep charts, and the only reason being is deep charts doesn't have as many of the technical tools that Atas has. It's more streamlined, and I just like simplicity. I don't need all the bells and whistles. I don't need to test everything. I don't use a VWAP. I don't use, a lot of the tools that other people do. And so I just like very simple, just clean charts. And that's why I use deep charts, because they're pretty simple and clean. And so it's just really a taste of preference thing. There's not one that's better than the other. I also have Bookmap that I just purchased this last weekend. I don't have everything set up with it yet, so I'm not sharing it. I'm not using it or any of those things. I don't even have it up like behind the curtain or anything. I can't even show it to you right now because I just don't have everything set up. But I got that just in case if I wanted to use the heat map itself. But I don't know. I did well with a heat map on one day. Somebody asked me on a Wednesday, do you use heat map and is it helpful? And I'm like, well, honestly, I don't know how to read it. And I came in Thursday and I just started seeing stuff in it. So I traded it the Friday before the 4th of July and did extremely well. I traded it here in my footprints and didn't do so well, but I haven't even put it up since then. So I don't know. Something I'm working on. But I guess I have to have it up in order to know if it's, feasible or not. So I'm going to put the Deep Dome up right now and just kind of watch it in the corner of my eye. For a possible buy, what do I think? I think right now the market is in a rotational market condition. I think we have a short-term trend already developing. We have a possibility of a reversal. That reversal is not confirmed yet from the way that I confirm reversals. Doesn't mean that somebody else won't confirm this as a reversal. I just don't see it as a reversal. Somebody in the room was asking if this was a short. What's the best way of testing if a market is going to go in a particular direction or not? And that's to trade it. If you're wondering what it's doing, if you know any of those type of things, the best way to find out is just get in. That's what I did. I don't think that there's an equal opportunity. I think there's an equal opportunity for the market to go up or down right now. I think it's basically a 50-50 shot. I think you're better off just rolling the dice, flipping a coin, whatever you want to do. 1 to 3 is long, 3 to a 4 to a 6 is short, and heads is short and tails is long. I mean, I don't know. We're in a tight range right now, and we're waiting for a breakout, and the market can break out to the downside and it can break out to the upside. We've got support and resistance in a very tight range right now. We're trying to break out of that range, but sellers failed. We're testing back into resistance right now that was once support, and price action gets above this area here, we could easily snap back up. Until we do, I'm anticipating sellers to possibly get aggressive and test this low. But I don't see any aggressiveness at all right now at the moment. I don't really see much of anything at the moment. So it's kind of a crapshoot in here, but look at the 30-minute chart. You don't even need my words. You're inside bars, on top of inside bar, trying to break out to the downside in an overall uptrending market. There's no clarity to this market right now. None. And so it's possible for it to do either one, go up or down. Yeah, we need to give this more time to develop itself. We're going to move that back to 40. I'm just working on the heat map, that's all. And so, yeah, see, we just moved right back above the whole support area, right? And so where's resistance at? Right here where it's coming off of. What is the market probably going to do? Rotate between this area and this area. At that high, should I go down at 1 minute time frame, and then in that time frame, should I look for low volume node after break of structure? In that time frame only, did I get it right? First of all, it's not about getting it right or wrong, right? It's about what is your plan, and what is your plan telling you to do? And if you don't like the result of your plan, how do you make an adjustment to your plan? It's not about right or wrong, though. You know, we make it about right or wrong. And the moment we make it about right or wrong, right, we're judging our own plan based upon the results, right? And then we're trying to figure things out. And then when we try to figure things out, we're tweaking things, we're fixing things. Do you have 30 trades? Do you have at least 30 trades? If not, why are you tweaking anything? If you have over 30 trades, what's your expectancy? If you can calculate your expectancy, is it profitable? Is it at least a 1.2 or higher? So that you're making 20% more than what you're actually risking or what your expenditures are on your negative trades, because a 1.2 is probably about the minimum expectancy that you want to trade a system off of. A 1.25, 1.3 is a pretty good system. You get into the 1.5 range and you've got something that's really good. If you get something that's above 2, you got the holy grail. Don't share it with anybody and just trade it. Make $1 million and walk away. You know, that's kind of the way that this works. So I'm really just sure it's hard for me to say, right? Would I go down to a 1 minute chart? I wouldn't, because I think the 5 minute already tells you everything. You know, you go back to the chart that you gave me, right? And you just look at it. Okay? Rude. There we go. And you just look at that chart, right? Here's the bottom line. You're trying to short a market that's trending. Period. Okay? You have confirmed rejection in price. Price action closes below the range, not of this bar, but of these two bars. It's the first time. Do you see any closes in here below any of these lows? Do you see any closes here below any of these lows. No, but you do here. That's the first time price action has proven anywhere that sellers are aggressive at the lows. Sellers are aggressive at the highs all the time, just like buyers are aggressive at the lows, right? Trends are developed that way. Sellers get in at the highs all the time. Buyers get in at the lows. And then when it retraces, it snaps back into trend. Why? Because the sellers get aggressive as it's coming back down, and the buyers don't. They leave because it gets stopped out. And so when you're looking at this, the first thing that you have to do if you don't want to get into these positions short, right? And it's not what you have to do, but you got to start analyzing the trend that you're in, the market condition that you're in. And this is a trend to the upside. No different that this is a trend to the downside. And then the sideways, this becomes really easy. Create a range. Create a range. And once you have your range, you have unfair highs and you have unfair lows. You have low volume nodes. You've got value. Trade the range. Buy the lows, sell the high. And auction market theory and volume profiling is perfect at giving you that information. That's what it's designed for. On the execution, you added to get a better average entry and took your add off to normalize risk. Is that what that's exactly what I did? Yes. And not just to normalize risk, okay? We're in a so this is a scalp for me, okay? Because we're in a trend in the 30-minute chart. The 30-minute chart is absolutely trending. I mean, guys, if you can't see that you have a trend here in the 30-minute chart, and Alam, I am not questioning you and your views on this at all, right? This is just for everybody in general, not you. If you can't see that this is a trend, you need to go back and just analyze price, okay? Because this is absolutely a trend. And if I'm going short in an overall trend, I'm scalping. I'm not doing a long position. I'm not doing anything else. If I'm scalping, what I really want to do is this. And I'm doing a lot of teaching right now and not a lot of trading. And so which kind of sucks because I'd be showing this to you guys live if I could, but I'm doing a lot of teaching at the same time. And when I'm teaching, I have a hard time trading. I got rid of 2 here for very small profit, and I'd be scaling back in. I'd be scaling back in a couple more on this bar, increasing my entry, moving in, and then looking at my lows, right? And where I'd be looking for potential profits in here because I'm scalping. And so I'm getting in, I'm getting out, I'm getting in, I'm getting out. I'm taking the short-term rotation that we have and turning it into a churning machine of small profits. I make $25 here, I make $25 there, I make $25 here, I make $25 there. If I keep doing that, I'm increasing my account size, reducing the overall risk. And so right now, right, we're right below this area. Beautiful. Grab a couple more right there, right? Now what do I want to do? Adjust this back to 2 again. I want to put a limit order. I'm short, so I want to buy 2. And where's a good target in here? Price action may not come back down in here. Here's support right in here. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 right here and see if I can't make another 20 bucks. So I've already made 25 in the position, right? Now I'm going to try to go off for another 20, okay? Now I'm up $65 total in the position. I don't know where my stop is going to be at in this position yet, but let's say if my stop's all the way up here, right? Currently right now, I'm risking $423. I was up $25. I'm risking less than $400 in the overall position with 6 lot on. We'll just leave it up here real quick. Just kind of watch it. It was up, what, 423? Is that what it was? 424, somewhere right around there. Watch what happens when we get rid of these 2 contracts, if we get rid of them. And this was that entry there was much closer to the entry that I wanted in the first place. We should have this entry now above this area. And this is why it's important, right? Because the closer you can get your entry to your areas, the more room you have down to the lows. It increases your profit potential. Good, Just Shorts. Beautiful. And if you have more questions than that, ask, right? There's no wrong questions. Okay? What I'm trying to do is help you out. I'm not pointing my finger at you and saying, "Hey, look, you're resisting new information." What I'm saying is, right, you're stuck in a view. Open yourself up to another view, not because that view is right, but you're asking a question, you're looking for an answer, you got to be open to an answer. And a lot of people have an issue with that when they're learning something new or they're convicted in what they're doing, right? Because what happens, their conviction comes out. Why? Because their conviction's based on their perception. And all we see is our perception. So if this gets hit, watch this stop. Down to 280. See, look, already losing those 2 contracts. It's already down to 282. Now we're up $45. We're risking just over $200 on the overall position. And what happens if we come back up here to this area again and we hold that resistance? I'm back in with a couple more doing exactly the same thing. You do that 3 or 4 times, your risk in the whole overall position has decreased dramatically from what it was to begin with. It doesn't take much. This is why I'm saying, right? It doesn't take very many contracts in these micros to really be able to start making some money. And how many times could have I done that now? I could have done it, let's see here, where's my entry? My entry is back over here, right? I could have done it here 1 time. I could have done it here again for 2 times, here again for 3 times. And I've only done it once now because I guess twice. So I really only kind of missed 1. But still, 1 more, right, at $20, $25. I don't know. You're just continuing to bite away at the overall risk to the position. And if you're in a good position that's not going against the trend, that's in value and those type of things, normally you'll get a range extension to move back into value, right? And that range extension will get you out with more contracts. This market doesn't go anywhere till the end of the day. We can make money by doing this again and again. That's exactly it. This is how you trade ranged markets, guys. See, everybody talks about chop markets. I get killed. I'm teaching you how to trade a chop market where you don't get killed and you have a high probability of actually making money. Anybody can trade a trend. Anybody can trade around value. Everybody complains about chop markets. I'm trading a chop market right now and I'm making money at it. Just keep in mind, it can spike up or down during power hour. Well, most definitely, Ram, most definitely. It can absolutely spike, right? And I think this thing is going to spike. It's probably going to spike to the upside. It's going to go against me, 100%. Why? Because we're in a trend on the 30-minute chart. So probability speaking, it's going to end up spiking up, not down. One of the reasons why I don't have any targets down here or anything else, because I'm not expecting this market to come down right now. We have no indication at all to tell us short. We don't have a close below this area. We have rejection at our lows, right? We're not making any higher highs yet, but when we do, look out. That's when the spike is going to happen. Can we go lower? Sure. But how far? Probably not enough to turn this into to reverse the trend. Where would we have to get below? Someplace around, at least below 864. At least below 100 points. Do we have room for downward price action? Sure, we have room. Yes, but we're in a trend. But how will we identify that today will be choppy or trending? We knew yesterday at 3:30 that we were in a trending market to the upside. We should expect a trend into today, and nothing told us otherwise for that trend. That's how. Use your higher time frame charts. Everything I do is based on the higher time frames. Keep yourself stuck on the shorter time frames, you're going to get stuck. You got to align everything you do to your higher time frames. They pave the way. Your job is to go into the direction that it was paved. The first person asked me today, is this market going to go down? I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so. But you know what? Let's test it and let's see. Here we go. This is the test. That's the only reason why I'm in this position. Now we have our close below. We have our auctions, right? Price action starting to move. We got a little bit of support in here. Okay, beautiful. Let me add one. What are we going to be looking at for a potential target here? Let's find the high volume just below us. Oh, right about here looks pretty good. So beautiful. Let's go ahead and put a limit order in. How much is this right here? $34.50. Sounds good. We'll scalp it out. If it gives it to us, breaks us low, and if it breaks us low and we get momentum, we should cross all the way through these areas right here. And I probably want to put another limit order in. Oh, I don't know. Let's say right about here. Yeah, looks pretty good. Right above these highs right here. Or right above these lows is what I mean. Can you explain how you read CVD bars which are on your chart? Yeah, I can. I don't use them a lot. They're there for, I don't know, like a security blanket, if anything, for me, because I used to use Delta all the time. What I like about these bars is this. Okay, here, I'll show you how to read them. We just broke this low by one. Well, we haven't even broke the low by one tick, right? We're still decreasing in Delta. Price action's moving higher. Okay, if Delta doesn't come up, I'm anticipating this bar right here is going to break its low. If Delta does not come up, see how we're moving up higher? Delta's not ticking up at all. We've got low volume, low Delta on this. We didn't come into the low. I'm anticipating this bar is going to break this low. There it is. Well, we tested the low. Did we break it? Yeah, there we go. That's how I use it. Can you use my move my so what can you move your CHR to middle? Which one's the CHR? Can't see it on YouTube. Which one can't you see? Because you can see this chart. You can see this chart. So which one can't you? Oh, I got you. You can't see. You can't see the bars. So I'll have to do it again. There you go. Is that better? Is that what you were looking for, Ram? Does that help? And so the way that this bar was forming right here, right? And the way that Delta was moving, I was anticipating this low to be broken on this bar because of that Delta. Okay. Now see, we have Delta increasing here, right? And then look, we're still in that middle phase of long and short, right? But we're down right now and price action's moving higher. If this is really strong Delta coming in, this increase in Delta should be moving this bar right here to break the high. I don't know how far to break the high, but anticipating it to break the high because the Delta's coming in strong. When price action was already moving up and Delta was still for sellers, right? Now look at the sellers in here, right? Not a lot of selling pressure in here. But when we were coming down off of here, more sellers came in as it's coming down than buyers came in when it went up. And so I'm anticipating the open of the bar to go down, to continue that momentum. See how price action just dropped nicely there and then Delta responded? Now you're looking for a continuation to the downside. continuing down in the same motion. Each time delta goes up by a tick, this goes up by a tick, and then delta comes back in strong again, and price action moves in the same direction. Tells you that right now sellers are in control of the market. Another target. 231 in the risk. 222. I don't even know how much we're up now, but now we already pretty much have a break-even trade, even if we get out here. See price action moving up high like this, right? Not a lot of move in delta. Delta's coming back down again, and expect this bar to come back down and test the low. You're out of the short 29,920. Yeah, I could see that. Absolutely. Price action immediately opened, moving higher, delta response. This is a nice little pullback. Now let's see what happens if delta starts to trade down. Price action's already down. We're already up in delta. Expect the high to get taken out, or at least tested. Delta's lower. Expect the open to be broken. Price action trades above, still delta here, down. Expect price action to come down and test this low if delta doesn't come back up into its high. Delta comes off the high, still purple in here. Expect at least the open to be tested. Can you use delta to trade with? 100%. Yes. I just use footprints instead. Can I read delta like I'm doing right now and the footprints at the same time? No, because my eyes are looking at two different things. But do you see how you can use delta? Especially these delta bars. Price action is trying to move higher. Delta's still weak. Price action comes down to the open of this bar. You should anticipate that the open is going to be broken and the low is going to be tested if delta stays down. See how we have a down tick in delta already after it's already down? Price is not leading right now. Delta is. Expect this low to be taken out. Down delta, down bar. Still anticipating this low to be taken out. Up delta there, bar came down to its low. The low is taken out. Expect now the high here to be tested if we get green delta again. There's your green delta. High tested, there it is. And unless we turn into purple and start gaining some steam here, we're probably not going to turn around and break this low, but if we gain some steam here in delta, this low will probably be taken out. Because we failed to make a higher high on the green delta of the buyer stepping into this bar. We turn to a positive bar, but delta still down. Anticipate the low to be tested instead of the high. Does that make sense? Do you guys see that? Do you see what I'm talking about? We're not breaking lows here on delta, right? Here's another way of doing it. See how we have a green bar here in delta? I'm expecting a continuation play to the downside. Yeah, makes sense? Good. But again, you kind of got to pick your poison a little bit. Why do I have delta on here? For this very reason. This up bar right here, yeah, it's an up bar, but it looks pretty bearish. We still happened on nice delta closing near the low of the bar. I'm anticipating these lows now to be tested because of that. Price action spiking up, but look, we're not seeing that increase in delta right now. And then what happens? This bar opens, immediately pulls up, nice green delta. Price action's coming up or coming down, but we're not seeing a decrease in delta. Expect this high to be broken. Don't have the sellers to support the downside because the buyers are only supporting the upside. We're only going down because the market's facilitating price for whatever reason. We're absorbing all the sell pressure in price through the positive delta. Delta hasn't really come down as much as we have in price right now. So not necessarily looking at it testing the open right now, but if it does and the delta stays kind of where it's at the moment, we're probably going to come back up and test higher prices because of the delta support. And in this little move here, delta hasn't even come close to its open of where it opened at. So we don't really see the strong sellers pushing price down to at least break its open. Just not expecting it right now. Still an increase in delta, still anticipating this high to get broken. And if you're anticipating the high to get broken, because that's what delta is telling you, why not move your stop down a little bit more, increase your revenue just a little bit on your last positions in case price action snaps back up. Look at delta, barely even dropping. Barely even dropping. Price is coming down. We don't have a lot of sell pressure in delta, right? But no buy pressure either. So anticipate it to continue coming down. A little bit of buying coming in here. Price action rotates a little bit higher. They're moving pretty much in unison right now. If the price breaks the open, anticipate green volume, buy volume in the delta, and anticipate it to continue up unless delta turns around and turns purple. And then you got to see what it's doing at the high at that point. But they're trading really much in unison at the moment, not one's leading the other. And so in this context, there's not a lot to talk about in terms of delta and price because they're in unison. They're not out of sync like they were back here. Like they weren't out of sync here either. It's just delta led that movement of buyers coming in. And now see how delta's coming up here? Much closer to the open. Which broker do I use? In my cash account, sorry, I had an itch I was trying to get rid of. In my cash account, I use AMP. I've used AMP for years. Years. Like since 2010. They've just never failed me. I love how many of the plethora of software that you can use through them. I used TT for a long time. I used IQ feed, so I went ahead and paid for my own feed anyhow. But they use CQG. CQG is always been known for quick fills. It's not quite as fast as TT, but if you're not doing major scalping with major size, CQG is just fine. Rithmic isn't bad for that either. CQG, though, has a little bit better quality of data and volume than Rithmic. IQ Feed has the best. They don't scrub their data. So if you want normalized volume coming in, IQ Feed is the best. I just don't get that granular in my reads. See, price is leading, delta's coming up, anticipate the high to get broken. Even though you have weaker delta over here, you're looking at it in terms of what is delta doing, what is price doing. Barely down ticking here, and price action is coming down almost to the open. Expect the high to get tested. Use Apex prop level 2 data because it's cheap. Yeah, then there's nothing wrong with that either. For my prop, I'm going to be using Tradeify to start with, and then I want to find a home, and I think my long-term home is going to be Blue Sky. But right now, just for ease, once I start trading live, it'll probably be either next week or the week after. I was really thinking yesterday it was going to be this week, but today I did miss a couple positions in the US session because I was doing too much teaching. And as long as I'm doing that, I don't want to be live. I still want to stay on sim. So I need to work on that. My 940 to 1040 needs to be about trading. And I have a really hard time with that because when people come in here and talk to me, I want to be able to answer questions. I want to be able to do those things. But the 940 to 1040 really needs to be about trading because that's my demonstration. This is the practice, right? This is practice. That's all it is. We can answer all the questions we want to in this session. The 940 to 1040, I need to be locked into trading. And I'm just not right now. And that has nothing to do with you guys. It has nothing to do with, people talking to me or any of that. It has everything to do with me. I get distracted. And as long as I'm getting distracted, I haven't earned the right to trade live. Now, why do I want to trade live? Because I believe trading live, once I get everything in place and I start showing revenue, I believe a lot of people are going to come out of the woodworks. And we're going to get pretty big. And know exactly, right? And Grupal, that's where I'm conflicted. That's why this is so difficult for me, right? I really appreciate you, brother. You're helping other also. And that's just the key, right? I'm here to do two jobs. Help you guys, and from 940 to 1040, trade at the same time. And I haven't found that balance yet in that time frame. That's the problem. Right? And until I do, I don't want to go live because it's going to hurt my performance. And if I know that something's going to hurt my performance, I don't want to just jump into it. And somebody's like, they cover their short at 920 or wherever it was that might be right in here, right? The reason why I haven't covered is even though we're in an uptrend, we did close below this range now, right? So we do have that close below this whole range, right? And price action has not created any form of higher high. So I'm sticking with the short. Because we're in a ranged market. Why should I get out of it? The market's too narrow for me to be able to trade this little tiny range. I'm already in a side. The side is not broken yet because we haven't made higher highs. And now as I speak, we have the bar that could absolutely make higher highs, or at least the start of the move that could, right? And in that context, this could be the one position that turns around and stops us out. And now we got to hunt for another position. But we still haven't made a higher high. And don't think for one second either that I'm like complaining about, not trading live and those type of things. I'm not even concerned about it right now, right? It's just finding that middle ground. Alon, I totally understand you. I also focus on trading New York AM session, no live streams, nothing like that. I dedicate this period for my learning. Exactly. You're learning, you're trading, right? You want to be focused in that time frame. It keeps you in the moment. If you're not focused, how can you create 30 trades aligned to your trading plan so you can get an idea of what your expectancy is and you can get an idea of what you need to adjust in your own trading? If you're not focused and you're kind of all over the place, then you're not creating 30 trades of consistency. And without that consistency as a trader, lack of consistency kills. I closed position at 29.20 because my 2-year-old son started playing with me on 100%. Yes, congratulations on your 2-year-old. Better you than me. I am grateful that I am not in that stage of my life. I enjoyed it. They were fun. I used to play Trip the Baby with my son. It sounds terrible, I know, but it wasn't. He loved it. He used to laugh, and we turned it into this big, huge game. But he started walking, right, and I would just kind of put my foot out and I would trip him. And the first time he hit the ground with his hands, he looked over at me and he started doing a little blubbering face, right? And I just started laughing. I'm like, oh my goodness, you're so cute. And so he started laughing. And then it turned into the game. And he would come over and he'd be walking a little bit better. And he'd come over like right in front of my foot where it was. And he'd just stop and he'd look at me and he'd start laughing. And then he would like take a step over it and I would lift my leg up and he would like straddle it. And so then he's learned how to run, right? Well, we had Chinese stars in our house because we had throw pillows, right? The little square throw pillows. Oh my God. He would start running. I would take one of those throw pillows and I'd just chuck it, right? Come over and hit him in the back and his arms flailing like this, his back like this. He hits the ground. He just laughs. He comes over and picks up the pillow and he's just laughing the whole time and he's running over to me and he stops and he looks at me and he looks at the ground and he's like, tries to put it down on the ground, like far away from me, and he runs as quickly as possible and just whack. We did this for hours at times. It was so much fun. I miss those days, but I don't miss dang attitude though. Oh, 2-year-olds and their little attitudes and you can't reason with them. Goodness gracious, absolutely not. So yeah, it's the story of my son and I. We used to have a lot of fun together. Fixed auction at 912, price action. Might visit back to repair that. Let's look. Let's see. 912, unfinished auction. Let's see if I see it in the higher time frame first. Nope. So 912. Yeah, you're 100% correct. I also have one down here at 904. So it's possible to come back and test that as well. We'll see. But the thing with the micros though, if you notice, unfinished auction, unfinished auctions, unfinished auctions, unfinished auctions, right? We have so many of them in the micros. The ES unfinished auctions work fairly well in the ES. At least they did in the before 2019. after that, I can't really tell. I don't watch the ES very often, but yeah. I was watching this 29,900 to buy till point of control or value area low at exactly till 29.95. It happened, but my timing is very wrong. How do I make my thing on point? Because this narrative was okay. So you talk about the thing, you talk about execution. How do you bring your execution on point? Is that what you mean? How do I make my timing on point? Okay, I said thing, but no, your timing. Practice. Practice. Continue making your plans like you are right now. Okay? Continue making your plans. Continue to practice your plans. Even if you're not taking the trade, it's okay. What you want to do is see the trades working out in the favor of your plan. All right? Because then what's happening is you're watching it play out and you're watching yourself not taking the action. Okay? That means there's a part of you, your predictive behavior, your future predictive behavior is playing out. All right? And pretty soon you're going to start noticing what's keeping you from taking the trade because you continue to practice and practice and practice. And once you're aware of the thing that's keeping you from doing it, you can be aware of it in the present moment. And when you're aware of it in the present moment, you bring it from predictive behavior that triggers before you are able to take the action. And once you bring that into the present moment, you have the ability to change it. Because if you don't bring it into the present moment, it already triggers before the present moment. And it will take action before your conscious participation comes online. Here, I'm going to share an idea with you and see if this helps explain this concept to you a little bit. Okay. What I'm going to share with you right now is actually going to be a video that I'm producing that's going to be out there sometime later this week, but I'm going to share it to you right now. So it might be easier for you to understand the concept that I'm talking about. Imagine you're sitting beside a river. The river has been flowing the same direction for years and knows every curve, every rock, every bend. It doesn't decide where to go, it simply follows a path it already knows. Most of our behavior is like that. Your nervous system has learned patterns that predict what is safest, most familiar, or most likely to happen. It doesn't ask what you want, it simply keeps flowing where it has always flowed. Then there is something else, the one sitting on the bank, the one capable of looking at the river and saying, "That isn't where I want to go." That observer doesn't have to stop the river. It doesn't have to fight the current. It doesn't have to heal or clean the water. It simply has to stop mistaking itself for the river. The moment you realize, I am the one who can choose, not merely the patterns that are running, something remarkable happens. Choice becomes available. Not because the river disappeared, not because the habits were healed, not because prediction stopped, but because you stopped asking the river for permission to walk somewhere else. That is what it means to abide. To abide is not to fight the current, it is to remain with the one who can choose. Every moment you return there, intention becomes available again, then action changes, not because you forced yourself to become someone different, but because action is now coming from a different source. And life always reflects its source. When action comes from prediction, life becomes a continuation of prediction. When action comes from conscious intention, life gradually becomes a reflection of that intention. The work then is surprisingly simple. Stop trying to repair the river. Learn to remain with the one standing beside it. From there, ask, given what I truly intend, what action makes sense now? Take that action, then repeat again and again. Not because the river has changed, but because you have stopped allowing it to decide where you drift to next. Or not because the river has changed, but because you have stopped allowing it to determine where your life drifts next. Your river is keeping you from executing your plan. Focus on the one that observes the river. Focus on the one that is observing price in the present moment. Allow that part of you to come online and make your decisions for you. And when you do that, your actions start becoming aligned to your plan. Does that help? Yeah, I tried to turn it into a story. I'm not a great storyteller, but I'm going to need to become one because I need to start talking about this stuff in the context of a story. You should be a poet. My guy, you are in the wrong field. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Actually, no, the other work that I just did there, I've been doing that since 2020. I've written 26 books since 2020. 3 of them are published right now. I don't know if I'm ever going to publish another one, but then in January, I started doing these videos just like this. And I wanted to bring it out from a concept and demonstrate it. And that's what I'm doing here, is trying to demonstrate these concepts. Because what the river does is it takes the observer, it brings its focus and attention on the river so much that the observer becomes the river. And you forget that you're on the bank. And you get caught up in the current of the river, and you get caught up in wherever it's taking you. And all you want is to be on the bank so you can drift in your own directions and not carried away by the current. And this is why we feel like we're stuck in life. And I want to demonstrate this concept here at the Live Edge to be able to not tell you how to fix or change that, to show you how we separate from the current of the river and become the observer, so we can take the action from the place on the bank and carve our own path. And what happens when you carve a path and you fill it with water, you fill it with action, it becomes a new river. And now you get caught up in that current, but that current's leading you to where you want to go. So if you haven't watched any of them, check out my other videos on Live the Return. You'll see the difference, right? It doesn't show charts or anything else. It's just me talking. But I talk about that stuff all the time. That's what brought me back into trading, because I really wanted to find a way to demonstrate that. And I couldn't think of a better way that I could demonstrate it than through charts. I was thinking about playing a video game, but I mean, what is that going to do? What's the stakes? There aren't any. There are stakes here. There's pressure here. How do you show up as the observer? Separate from the current of the river so you can start paving the way, the path for a new river to form. So let me know if that helps you guys at all in this process. Because the same thing that makes trading not easy is the same thing that makes life not easy, because it's the same function that's creating both. It's just, for me, I think it's much easier to see in trading because the results are automatic. And so you know what current you're flowing in. Because if you're not taking the action to your plan, you're not doing the things that you set to do, you know that the current, the river of your life, is taking you down the river. Llama does a lot. Good. Good. This is what I'm here for. Anybody can learn to read charts. Anybody can. The people that do really well in trading are the ones that their river is aligned to creating positive results in trading. And those individuals, they don't know how to teach this stuff because it comes natural to them. Sorry, I missed it. What was that green horizontal line on your footprint chart? Oh, this one? Oh, that's nothing. That's just something that I have up and that I'm working on, I'm looking at. What it's basically doing is it's taking this area of buyers stepping in at 178 comparatively to 48 sellers. It's showing an imbalance of the bid and the ask, and it's turning around and creating a green line to say, okay, we have potential support coming into the market there. That's what it's saying. And it does the same thing here. It's did the same thing here. And then it will do the same thing on sellers as well. It's just we have so many buying imbalances. We don't have a lot of selling imbalances today. I don't even see anything on the sellers right now. But that's what it's doing. It's just taking the imbalanced areas and then drawing a line and saying, hey, you have potential support in the market. Some of them seem to work pretty well. Some of them don't seem to work very well at all. But I mean, that's how all of these things work. And they're plotted through the bubbles that are plotted. That's what's happening with those. And so I just didn't shut that portion off. I think I can, but I just choose not to. Because I'm kind of testing them. And then one of the shorts I'm working on right now is most people understand free will. Here's the part almost everyone misses. Your central nervous system, including your brain, is essentially a prediction engine. Its job is to consistently predict what's going to happen next, including what you're going to do next. If it's doing its job, then much of your future behavior is already being predicted by the very system that's producing your decisions. So ask yourself this. If your next choice is being predicted before you become consciously aware of it, where is the freedom in your will? This is the question most people never fully confront. Until you recognize that your mind is running predictive patterns, you're mostly living inside those patterns. You're reacting, not choosing. Does that mean free will is impossible? Not necessarily. It means free will isn't something you automatically have. It's something you may have to develop by becoming aware of the predictive machinery that's driving your behavior. The potential for freedom exists, but potential isn't the same as freedom. And if all you have is potential, then what is freedom without it? You became trading because of Fabio? 100%. I mean, you can't question, his trading ability, right? Phenomenal trader. He's aligned to trading. He's one of those guys that's aligned to trading, right? And that's what I mean. See, he can't come in and teach you about what's keeping you from trading profitably because he hasn't struggled with that. You can't come from a place that you can't struggle from. 1 to 3 or 3? What do you mean 1 to 3 or 3? I'm not sure, Ram, what you mean by that. Same started using order flow after Cameron Rosado and Fabio. Yeah, I mean, they're all absolutely phenomenal, right? Absolutely phenomenal. And what they teach is honestly a lot better than what I teach in a lot of ways. I'm a lot more detailed than they are. Where I come from is I came from a background of struggling from trading or with trading, struggling with life. Okay. And in that struggle, I found a way, a path for me to change all of that. That's the path I share. Not because I'm right, not because I figured something out that nobody else has. It's to share a path. And those that find themselves on that path and decide to go on that journey, we can walk together. Because we're on a shared path. And where's the destination of the shared path? Aligning your actions to whatever it is that you want in life. Man, you're interactive. I can talk and improve from someone who has experience. Yeah. Yeah. Because my experience isn't, I turned the charts on, I started doing this, and 6 months later I was profitable. That's not my experience, guys. That's not what happened. No, just the opposite. But I, and then I took a $15,000 account and turned it into a $30,000 account. Okay. In my first 3 weeks of trading. So it's not like I didn't have success. I'm not sure D charts allows that. Allows what, Ram? 1 to 3 or 3 for what? And Gopal, thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate that. I do. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are so, everybody talks like, oh, the internet's full of trolls and all this other stuff. And oh my God, I haven't ran into a single troll. Not a single one. Are you talking about like a 1 to 3, like a risk reward ratio? Is that what you're talking about, Ram? Or like drawing a line like that where you think you have this right here, and I think you can put in your risk. So let's say that your entry was someplace down here. There's your risk, and then you could put this in down here, and it will tell you, kind of what your risk reward is. Is that what you mean? Like this is, it's 3.6 right now. Is that what you mean? No, it's a 1-to-1. But yeah, I mean, that's where I feel I bring value. Do I trade as well as Fabio? No. Will I ever trade as well as Fabio? I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Right now, am I that good? No. No, I'm not. But I bring something to the table that they don't. For those that are struggling, I've been there myself. And my story and my experience in what I did to allow myself to walk a different path. I'm very careful to say to change, to fix, because I don't believe that we can change or fix anything. I don't believe that we need to heal anything, because we're not the predictive machine that makes our decisions for us. We just wear it as our identity. Oh, your question is regarding green line and balance. So yeah, I mean, so if you put in like this buy right here, right? And so let's say you put this in here and then you drop your so let's say that's your entry, right? And you can drop this down, and let's say you want to be out right below this low. And then let's say you wanted to target, I don't want to use the current. So let's say you wanted to target this high volume in here. You could drop this in, say right here, and then you can look down here. You can say, okay, I have a 1.63 risk reward ratio from that. I don't do that because I scale in and I scale out. But that's exactly what Fabio does too. And so when you look at Fabio, for example, is he looking for a 1-to-1, 2-to-1 risk reward ratio? I didn't get that out of his work, and I might have missed something in that. He's looking for areas of consolidation and to gain inventory in those areas of consolidation. And then if that portion makes money, he uses that money to apply to another area of consolidation. Okay, so you're not talking about risk reward. Okay, then I'm not quite sure. Oh, are you saying the imbalance itself? What is it? 2 times, 3 times? So is it what you're asking then is, okay, if you have 48 here and 178, is it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times the amount? Is that what you're asking? So that was 148 to 172. This one is 605 to 249. Okay, yeah. No, I got you. I got your question now. I apologize. Took me a second. So this is like a 3-to-1. This is like a 2-to-1. I don't know. I don't know exactly the algorithm that they're using for it. I don't even know if I can figure that out. I think it's coming from, well, let's find out. Nope, it's not deep trades it's coming from. Oh, you know what? I think it's the delta volume. Nope, it's not delta volume either. Is it the IVB? IVB. Okay, so it's coming from the deep something. Deep M IVB is what it's coming from. And so the opening range is set to 15 minutes right now. So it's coming from the initial balance that I use. And then I don't know, I don't even have an indication here that I can use to tell what it's coming off of. So it's coming off the imbalance indicator. Which would be this right here. Because when I shut that off, they go off. But I don't have a means of adjusting that number in here. Because I have the general, right? So I can enable projections. If I take those off and I hit apply. Oh, it's probably zones. Yeah, I would probably think that these would be zones. Yeah, so it's working off of those zones, and I can only turn on and turn off the zones themselves. I can't come in and make adjustments to the numbers that it's actually using. So I don't know how that's calculating. I really don't. That's one of the reasons why I'm not really using it. But I haven't shut it off because something there, maybe. I see them enough to be able to say, you know what? There might be some sort of scalping opportunity that we might be able to create off of them over time, but nothing that I would be comfortable using for now. But like this, yeah, seems to work pretty well. But we're also in a trending market condition today, right? But here again, though, where I went long up here in this area, right, today, that is telling you long into the low. So in a scalping opportunity, you could get out with some revenue on this and move your stop to a break even. But I should have noticed this break in this low here. And this was something I'm going to practice tomorrow. Because if you look at this low, okay, 198.71 sellers coming into this low, and then we have close to 200 average, about 150 average in here, more selling pressure, right? But then look at the lows here with the low volume of the buyers, and the buyers immediately step in. I should have been long right when we cross back over again into this area. There's a standalone indicator called imbalance tracker. Okay. And if you put the imbalance tracker on, it probably sets it up here, and then you can probably adjust. Is it in the imbalance tracker right here? And so if we put on the imbalance tracker and we look at it, okay, minimum percentage is 300%. And the imbalance actually is diagonal in this one. So it's looking at the more aggressive orders off of the ask comparatively to the bid, as if the ask and the bid are filled, not at the horizontal level, but the diagonal level. I used to use that as well. You can also set it to the delta percentage horizontal, the imbalance horizontal. So diagonal, horizontal, or off of, which would be total volume or off of delta. Maybe you can use it as a reference to scale in and out of your positions. Possibly, Ram, possibly, I don't know. I'm very careful in using any form of indicator on my charts. I'm very careful. Look at all of these. There's a ton of them. That's a mess. And then you've got to figure out if you're going to use something like this, right? Here's the problem with these things, okay? If you're going to use something like this, you have to understand how they're creating them. And then, because it's based upon volume, you need a way to be able to normalize this number. It can't always be the same. In a thick market, you're going to want it bigger. In a thinner market, you're going to want it smaller, right? And so you need some sort of indicator to be able to give you an indication of what number you should be using. And that is difficult to do. I'm not a programmer. I did come up with an idea to do that with tick charts. So if you're using tick charts for your entries, especially on like the pairs, the currency pairs, where there's no volume data, right? You can use ticks to give you an idea of the volume that's coming in by counting ticks. And then you can use that information to shift into the time frame of the ticks that you want to be in, so you can switch with volatility. For now, you're just using volume profile, volume, and anchored VWAPs on your chart. Exactly, Ram. I try to keep things as simple as possible with the least amount of information on my charts as possible. I do have a few things like these lines here because I am watching them. I'm just not working off them, and I'm not talking to you guys about them, not because I'm trying to hide anything. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if I need them. I think there's too many dots on my charts as well. But again, to get rid of the dots, what do you have to do? You got to come into your indicator and you got to figure out for this day, what is it that you need to use for your filter? And you got to adjust your filter every single day if you're going to start messing with your filter. And that's a lot. So I don't mess with it. What I wish I would have done today in my trading, and I really need to practice this tomorrow because I didn't do a good job in the US session. I think I was just teaching too much and I wasn't paying attention. But this, when we closed below or at this little range in here, and we came back up to this area, I bought here. And I only bought with one because I was looking at in case this went, right? And I was looking at this as, okay, if in case this goes, I want to be in one. And this is a decent area to add for that. But this is also a decent area to get in for a short. But I didn't do that because of the long-term chart. And then If I was in my cash account, I would have never been stopped out of this position, because when it came down here, I would have been adding. Do you guys know how I add into positions? Have I shown you that, how I add into positions on expense trades so you don't turn them into expense trades? Have I shown you guys that? You guys want to see that? I think I should be able to do it in the next 20 minutes before the market closes if you want to see it. Put a Y in the chat if you want to see it. Because what you're doing is, instead of using stops and trading as a trader, what you do is you use inventory. So let's just go long here. Why am I going long? Because I'm kind of expecting with this bar that we're going to continue down. I'm not going to put a stop in. I just want to see this market come down. In fact, you know what we could do? Where was a trending market condition for the down here? This would be a perfect example to do this on. What is this? Is this yesterday at 11 a.m.? June 7th at noon. Let's do that. Instead of trying to do it here where I don't know what the market's doing, if we're going to use this as an example, let's just go ahead and do it. I'm going to put on 11 o'clock. Well, let's see here. That's 1:30. This is 12 o'clock. I'm going to put 12 o'clock on my chart for a replay, and I'm going to go long. And I'm going to show you guys how to get out of a position. I don't know if I want to show this to you guys or not, but I'm going to. This is what asset managers do. Asset managers don't ever use stops. You got to make sure you have enough room in your account. So in my cash account, I'm willing to take a $25,000 to $30,000 hit to my account if it happens. This is why I don't do this in the live side, because you can't do this in prop accounts, okay? This is also one of the reasons why I will also, I want the most risk I can possibly get in a position, okay? For not in a position, I want the most risk I can have in a prop account. This is why I love Blue Sky. They have $5,000 of end of day. What does end of day mean? It means that it's not a high watermark trailing stop. Okay? And so I have $5,000 to play with. I can almost do this strategy I'm going to show you guys with that account size. But there's going to be some times it's going to bite me, and I'm going to take that $5,000 hit, and I'm going to blow up an account, because $5,000 isn't quite enough to do this. All right? But I'm going to show you. And asset managers can get away with this because they've got a few $1 million in their accounts that they do these techniques with, and why they don't need stops, and why I don't believe they run stops, because they don't need to. What they do is they're doing exactly what it is that I'm doing right now, and it looks like they're coming after stops. So we're going to go long one here. We know this is going to come down. Let's just play this forward and put me into a nice down position. Okay? So let's move this forward. And like I said, I just want to be in a nice down position right now. Put me down. Well, that's not helpful. I thought you were supposed to go down. Put me down like $1,000. I don't even care. 2,000, whatever. You're supposed to be going down, not up. See, I can't even lose money when I try to right now. It's ridiculous. Am I on the right day? This is the 7th, right? This market like crashed. Okay, well, Then let's do this. Let's go ahead and cover this position now. All right. And now we're going to go ahead and buy another one at these prices. And now let's see if it goes down. Keep going. No, you're going the wrong way. Stop it. Go down. Drop. It's not cooperating with me. It's supposed to be going down. I'm already at 2 o'clock. What am I missing? Oh, because I'm on the wrong day. I need to be on the 6th. That's why. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right, sorry. We'll stop this. We're going to reset this, and we're going to the 6th at 12. Sorry about that. I picked the wrong day. And 12 would be, 12 because midnight would be 2400. All right, let's try this again. Let's see here. We're on the reset. This is at 12. No. So now we need a set. That's why I never give it enough time. God, I'm such an impatient person sometimes. I like instant gratification. I think that's why I like trading so much. Okay, this is going to be fun. So, I can't believe I haven't showed this guys. I can't believe I haven't shown this to you guys yet. All right, now we're in 1. Well, we're actually in 2 right now. Beautiful, even better. We're in 2. That's fine. Let's go to 100. Are you kidding me? I will get this one of these years. When I hit the reset and it came back on set, I'd already set it up to 06, but it reset it back to 07. So I got to do it again. Sorry. User error. So we're on the reset. Give it a second. Just wait. Now we're on the 06, 07, 2026 at 12. Now we're going to hit set. We're in 2 right now. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten and cancel and just get into 1. And I'm buying the market, anticipating it's going to come down swiftly. All right. Now that I talked it through, I should be able to follow through with that with action this time. And this is why I will do too when I'm trading live and it's just me. I don't like doing it with you guys because I'm just kind of talking to myself, but I'm constantly talking through the market to myself, even out loud. And I'll literally be talking, right? And I'm talking to myself. I mean, I'm crazy. What can I say? But the reason why I do it is because I'm constantly putting in the context of my plan and what I need to be doing next and what I need to be doing next and what I need to be doing next. I'll let this thing just go down as far as we possibly can. I want it to go farther. What are we looking at here on the... Oh yeah, we got plenty of room. Let her go. Just let her fly down. Just keep going. We're going to go through the Asian session. I don't even care. However far down I can get this thing. Still have plenty of room. It's definitely not going straight down, is it? Might only be able to do it at like 300. It may not drop far enough. Oh, you know what I could do? I could put this on a... Let's do the same thing. Let's pause it, but we're going to take it off the micro and we're going to put it on. Let's do that. Let's put it on the actual mini. That's going to give us a much bigger drawdown. That's what we're going to do. Okay, good. This works. And the other thing that I like about the 5000, it gives me enough inventory. I can hit it with like 210 lots, I think, something like that. And the most I've ever had to do this with is I had 254 lots on one time in my cash account. And I was down $12,000 and I ended up being up $2,500. It happens. It happens. Let's go ahead and move this to 12. And now let's hit set. I'm still on the micro though. I need to put this back over to the mini. There we go. Now we're on the mini and now we need to hit set. And we're on the mini here. I don't care about the rest of them right now. So it should only be this chart. Well, no, this chart needs to be set to the mini as well in order to be able to, in order for us to be able to set it. So the rest of them will keep on the micro. We're not even going to use any other charts. We're only using our entry chart. And I might have broke it. Nope, didn't break it. Good. So this should be, yeah, this should be right. So let's go ahead and hit play. We're going to buy one now. And now we're going to run this at 100 and see if we can't get down like $1,000. Okay, there we go. We're already down 500, 600, 700, 800. Beautiful. Now what I'm doing is I'm waiting for a pullback. Okay, I don't see a strong enough pullback right now. So I'm waiting. There's the down, right? I would really like to see my volume in here. So let me change this to 40. That should give me enough volume in here that I'm able to see my nice little pullbacks. So where would I expect this price action to go right now? Down here to this area. And then I'm looking for a pullback. So let me mark this area real quick. Well, I don't need to. I don't need to. Let's do this. So I'm down $900 right now, right? Let me go ahead and put this to 5. This would have been a great place to do it too, but that's okay. I'm going to let this pullback go, and I'm going to wait for the next one. Still going to wait for this. There we go. I need the lows. There it is right there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start buying this market. There's 11. There's 12. Here's my stop. Well, there's my TP. See, it popped before I was able to do it. But right there, if this pop comes in, I'm only in 16 contracts right now. I'm down 1,200. But if this pop comes back up right above this entry, I was in one. I immediately got into three clicks, right? That's 16. I just took a $1,000 expense and turned it into a $485 revenue. That's it. That's how you get out of positions without using a stop. Let it come against you. Let it come against you. Anticipate the pullback. Get into your size. And you can't do it on the micros because they're not going to let you hit that much size on the they're not going to let you do a minis because you can't hit that much size. But on the micros, you can hit on some of these contracts, some of these evaluations, 200 contracts. You can pick up a ton of inventory. My entry was way the heck up here somewhere. Like right up here. It came all the way down to here. I was down like 85 points. And all I need is one point where I'm anticipating a pullback and 15 lots. And I'm able to get out with a revenue instead of an expense. That's what asset managers do, guys. Traders, we have to be right. Asset managers, they don't care about being right. Because they've got a couple $1 million, $3, $4 million, $5 million sitting in accounts that they can do this with. Market goes against you, beautiful. Asset manage yourself back in. And what happens on pullbacks like these, that's what's creating these pullbacks, because that's exactly what they're doing if they're underwater. Or let's say they have a customer, right, that they want to get out of the best price possible for the day, and the market's going down like this. They'll turn around and do this knowing that the price action is going to be coming up here, and their actions in the market are going to come in and make a higher high. Because their orders are actually going into the market. And they can do it with enough size that they can guarantee themselves to get out. And they add the size just like I just did for the same purpose and the same reason. Here, let's try it again. Let her go down. Just let her go. Who cares? Drop, 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 drop. There you go. Thank you. See, there's the auction, right? That's my indication I'm anticipating a pullback. So let's bring this down a little bit more to a lower low. There we go. Good. And now we need to wait for another deeper pullback. Not a pullback, but I want a deeper down move. I want the next deepest down move that we can get. This is looking a little promising, but then it's not. Now she's just going up. There we go. There's the drop. That's perfect. Now what am I doing? I'm waiting for a reversal area to pop into this market. Someplace where I would anticipate a reversal coming into this market. There's your second low, your third low. Any sort of buying down here, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to start buying contracts. There's 15. There's my TP right above this high. I'm going to lock in $220 if this market turns around and gets me out, and I'm only in with an 11 lot. I'm out. Questions, comments, concerns? Have you guys ever seen anything like this before? And that's what I was going to do today in my trade when I went long. But I don't feel like that's prudent to do live during the US session when individuals are working off of tighter risk parameters. But even a $300 risk is not a huge expense on a valuation where you can have a max risk of $4,500, $5,000 in a position. Even being down 500 wouldn't be that bad of a deal on one lot today because it didn't add in any other areas. When I started to get that pullback, I could have entered like 15 contracts and been out of it with a revenue instead of taking a $300 hit. And at this time here, I was only in with 11. I didn't see what I was down before it happened, but I know I was down a bit, probably what, 500, 600 maybe on that move. Did anybody see it? You guys are awfully quiet right now. Nobody's saying jack. Did I lose you all? The cat got your tongue. Alarm is saying nothing. Jason. Ram? Anybody out there? Did I lose you guys? Did I lose you trying to get the day to trade? We focus so much on strategy. Pros know how to get in and out and get out. It's just like the trade you did earlier. For me, at best, that would have been a break even, but you were in profit. Yeah. Yes. It's a different way of viewing risk management, and one that most traders don't look at because we're always taught to use a stop. Why? Because it rigs the game against us. The prop firms continue to rig the game against us because they don't give us enough risk in order to be able to do this. Like I said, I will do this and be willing to risk $25,000 to $30,000 in a cash account, because once I'm down 25, 30, because this is what can happen. You can do this in a huge, and especially in a downtrend where you get your pullback and you start buying, but it doesn't come up enough. Never seen anything like that. Very nice. It doesn't come up enough. And so you can take a hit. The most I've been down doing this is $12K. So I was down $12,000. I was doing a day where I forced myself to be wrong, and I was on sim and I tried to get out of it, and I was down about 37,000 in the position before I was finally able to get out. But by the time I got out, I was in over 300 lots. Okay. So you can put yourself in a position where you can get in trouble. But if you have $100,000 in cash, you could make it where you would never have another expense trade. That's one of the reasons why Blue Sky intrigues me so much, because they have a brokerage account. And what you make, you can leave your funds in there and let it grow. And once it grows to 100,000, they're pretty much going to let you do whatever it is that you want to do. And now you can start managing your positions like that. And the chances of taking a catastrophic hit are extremely, extremely low. Not that you can't do it, but it's extremely low. Or not that it can't happen, but it's extremely low. And even at that, if you cap it at 25,000 and you take that hit, it's going to be a while before you take that hit again. And so you can bring your account balance back again above that 25,000, 30,000 mark, especially if you have $100,000 in there and it's a brokerage account. This is why I trade size, guys. This is why I love my inventory, gaining inventory, because that's where you make money, not on an all-in, even a scaling out position, because you have to be right. Today I took a $300 hit and I was completely wrong, but only a $300 hit, because I didn't scale into the position any further because it was doing nothing but going down. It didn't give me any indication whatsoever that I should be getting in long. There was one other area I was looking for a long. It just didn't qualify itself. This is why I scale in and scale out. Fabio scales in and scales out. He's just better at me than at doing it. I'm going to get as good as he is at it. That's my goal. Will I ever achieve that goal? I can't tell you that because I don't have a crystal ball. But knowing that that's my goal, I want to get there. I want to be as good at Fabio in scaling into positions and getting to the point where I'm making $10,000, $15,000 a day. That's my goal. That's what I'm working towards. That's why I'm practicing. That's why I'm streaming. That's why I'm helping you guys, because helping you makes me better. Because I'm explaining this stuff, and when you can teach it, you just get better. And by then, when I get to that place, I want to have my own firm, my own prop firm. And I want to set it up in a way that is like blue sky type thing, where it's still following in the rules of what they want you to do, they being, you know, the individuals that let these prop firms maintain or stay in business, right? But it's close to a benefit to you guys, to traders, as much as possible, to provide the training, to provide all of it. That's where I want to go with this. Like right there, this little low right here should be long. I just entered 5, whatever. And if I'm long here, where's my first exit? Right here. Right above these lows. Not here, just above those lows. Price action's now going against me. I'm in with 5. Beautiful. Let me do this with 8. Support's coming in here. If we get above this, we're probably going to come back up again. Price action's coming against me. I'm down, what, $1,500. Most people, their stop would already be hit. Okay, fine. I'm down $1,500. Whatever. I'm down $300 a contract right now. A little bit more now because I'm down $1,700. It's still coming down. Okay, fine. Get rid of this. Now I'm set it to 8, right? I'm already in with 5. I'm waiting for a pullback into this market. It hasn't gone down far enough for me to be able to do this yet, because if I drop my entry point now, I don't know. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. There's 8. Let's see if we get hit. I don't think so. I think we're going to come down and break this low and continue down. There's a buyer stepping in. There's resistance. Back to the entry. In with 13. We were down 1,500, 1,700, 1,800 at one point. Holding support here, anticipating this high to break. We'll be locking in $455 if it gets hit. If not, we're down farther. We're down 2,000 now. We're down 3,000. Let her go. Keep going. 3,500. 4,200. Let's keep an eye on this number. 3,800. 32. We have some buyers stepping in here, but I'm anticipating this low to break. This is not a strong pullback example for me here, so I want to wait. Let this go down farther. Do we get above where those sellers are? Barely. Right back down below it. There we go. Right there. We're going to get in with 2. Now we have everything. TP right here. Locking in 725. Do we get above it? No, we don't. Now we're down 11,000. We hit 11,000 down. We're going to be trailing in between these two right now. Price action's now coming up. I'm going to go ahead and buy a couple more just so I can get out if this high is broken. We're at 45 now. Down 5,800. So if you're in a prop account, you've already blown it up. 5,800 is our maximum, 6,000. We have our auction here. So anticipating price action to continue to move lower. If so, my next exit, I want to have below this area here, these two areas. So my next exit when I enter more needs to be below this area. But see what happens when you miss your pullback mark, right? You open yourself up with a size that can go against you. Came right back to entry, right back down again. You can easily make it so you only have like $1,000 expense right now by just moving your stop to a break even instead of trying to turn this into a revenue position. We're expecting resistance up here. That's exactly what we're seeing. Price action's unable to get above that right now. Anticipating price action to retest a low. It does not. Popped up just a little bit, not quite back to the exit. Down 6,000, probably down about 12,000 at this low. I didn't look. $9,000, $12,000. Now we're down 17,000. You see what I mean? You miss it, right? Even this one was in revenue. Okay? 1575 trying to get that revenue is a little bit much. All right? But we're in this area. If I can get a little bit of push in here, right there. Drop this all the way down below this area, pop my TP in now. But now we're down 18, 19,000. If you miss your pullback, you can hurt yourself. So you have to be spot on in your pullbacks in order to be able to do this. We're in 117 minis. Down 12,000, 14,000, 15,000. $4,000 in revenue after being down almost $20,000. This is what I mean. The power of this, but you miss it. You miss your pullback and you can get hurt. But this is why I'm looking at doing this in micros, because that 20,000 drops down to 5,000. There I would have been taken out, but on this bar, if I would have dropped my target a little bit, that would have been my exit before we even got close to 5,000. There's something here. There's something here. I'm not quite smart enough to put this together myself. But if I can teach this to a few individuals out there that are smarter than me, and they're able to put this together, there's something here that we might be able to use. I don't know if it would be VWAP. I don't know what we could do to increase the probabilities of being able to read the pullbacks. I'm okay at it, but I'm not great. Not good enough to be consistent at it yet. Food for thought. Hey JD, how's it going? It's good to see you. Thank you for joining and for saying hi. I appreciate you. You're over there lurking in the background and you come in and say hi. It's awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate you. I'm not calling you a lurker as like a negative or something, just messing with you. Got a sense of humor. I hope you do too. Yeah, you have thoughts on what you just saw there? Now, I'm not saying this is a good idea. I'm not saying that this is something that we should do. I'm saying, hey, look, this is an idea. This is something that I do in my cash account, and I'm willing to have a pretty big loss. Is it something that we can do in prop accounts? I don't know. I'm leaning to the no, but I don't want to be the only individual that has an opinion on that. I don't know how long you've been watching, JD, if you've been watching anything that I was doing there or not in terms of asset management. Alam, yeah, if initial position is small relative to your base risk, this is doable without bleeding your account, especially if, yes, 100%. Exactly. Why do you think that I don't take positions when I'm scaling in, usually in the micros of more than 5-6 contracts? 5 or 6 contracts is enough to make anywhere and have an expectancy of anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000 a day, depending on depending on the market condition, and what your the amount of time that you're trading. Okay, $1,000 to $2,000 a day off of 5 to 6 micros is 100% doable. All right, that leaves. So if you go to Blue Sky, this is my favorite brokerage firm out there right now. I don't think a lot of people have heard of them. I don't know if that's true or not. A lot of people talk about the main ones and not Blue Sky. But let me show you. And this is actually really interesting as well because of a few things. And I'll show you what I mean as soon as I get them up. So if you go into Blue Sky and you go into the Propel and the 300,000 static, you have a $5,000 static drawdown. Does everybody know the difference between static and high watermark? And now notice this on a $300,000 account. Your profit goal is $20,000. Your static drawdown is $5,000. You can have 5 minis or 50 micros. 50 micros is enough if you can pinpoint your pullback areas well enough. But you have to get better on that than just making them discretionary. And they use Rithmic, they use Deep Charts, they use Tradovate, TradeC, TickBlaze. But if you're using Rithmic, you can use anything out there that's supported by Rithmic. So that would be ATAS, that would be our ATAS or whatever it's called. That would be Bookmap, any of those. And of course, Deep Chart also works, or Volumetrica also works off of Rithmic as well. And that's 50 micros. Now, if you go over to Tradeify, and you take Tradeify, and you go into, let's just go into pricing. I think that's where everything is at. Tradeify, you go into your select, and you go into 150. Is that their largest? Yeah, 150, right? You can have 120 micros. Now, that is enough. 12 minis or 120 micros, $9,000 profit target instead of 20, and you have a 4,500 trailing max drawdown end of day. So it's the end of day drawdown of 4,500. Okay, it's not static. So what does static mean? Static means that if you have a $300,000 account and you make $305,000, right? Your drawdown is still at the 495,000 mark. If it's end of day and you're down 2,000, right? Let's say you're up 302,000, or in this case, 152,000, right? Then your drawdown at the end of the day is going to be that 302,000 minus the 4,500. It's not static. It doesn't just stay. It does move, but it doesn't move until the end of day. If you have one of these other drawdowns right here, right, that doesn't say end of day. So if you go to one of these trailing max drawdown, okay, so all these are saying end of day. Some of them through some of the other prop firms, I think Lucid is like this. It's the high watermark. So if you're up $1,000 today, your trailing stop already moves up 1,000 the moment you're up. So if you're up 500, you're up 400 in one trade, right? You're already decreasing your actual drawdown. So if you're up 400 right now and then you end up losing that 400, if you had a $2,000 drawdown and altogether, the next day you only have 1,600. This is the way the prop firms make it difficult for you to pass these evaluations. The end of day makes it a heck of a lot easier. The static is a different ball game altogether. But it's 20,000 in revenue, which is a lot. That's going to take a lot of days to build up, even at 1,000. And it only gives you 50, where this gives you 120. Which would be enough to scale in. But we would still have to be able to qualify the pullbacks better. I mean, if you guys think I'm crazy, put 2 in. Please, chat, just type in 2 if you think I'm crazy, and I will absolutely 100% walk away from this idea completely. But if you guys think that there's a possibility of being able to pull this off, we need to be able to work together with the right people to help quantify this, so we can test it and possibly take it to the next level. Again, I'm not saying this is right to do. I'm not saying that this is a good idea. I'm saying it's an idea. So that's one of the things that I'm working on. One of the many. Nothing else that I necessarily want to share right now because they're still in the developing stage. I don't have it down enough right now that I can actually show anything because I'm not consistent enough with it in order to be able to do it yet. But I'm building plans, and I build plans and ideas like this all the time. That's what I am. I mean, I generate ideas, and I'm pretty good at aligning details to the ideas and then bringing the ideas back and chunking them back up and making sure that they don't break the upper vision, the upper idea, right? I'm actually pretty good at doing those things. What I do sometimes, though, is I miss some of the small details, and of course, the devil's in the details, and that's where you get yourself in trouble. And I might be blinded by something in this idea, but I'm already open to the idea that we could end up blowing an account. And I can do this on cash. But trying to do this in a prop, I don't know. I don't know if it's possible. Well, I didn't get off that idea. Anything else? Anybody else have any other questions, comments? I think it's possible, but it will be protective if we have like a benchmark loss limit. Like say if it goes against me 50% of my drawdown, I will take my loss. What exactly? Yes. Absolutely. And that's all this is, right? Is protective against most positions. And this is kind of why I'm really looking forward to replaying tomorrow because of the long that I took, right? I only had $300 in risk at my stop. It only went like at the most probably 50, maybe $100 against me after that. So we're only looking at $400, not even a 10% risk of 5,000, right? And then it came to an area where I could start adding. And the moment I could start adding, the market continued to move up. Well, is that really that risky when yesterday I was calling a possible trending market condition and you're going long and you're moving with the trend, and how today ended up working out? I mean, my analysis is so strong in that context that that portion I'm not even concerned with. Because I'm not against overall market direction very often. And that's where you're going to get hurt. Unless we can get better at quantifying potential pullbacks. And then getting hurt is much less probable. And you have to, if you get in with size and the pullback doesn't hit your target, that's the risk. That's the risk. You know, like this right here, right? You come right up into the area of high volume, and what happens? Price action rejects immediately. Now we're in the micros, or we're in the minis, not in the micros, right? So you can immediately put your stop up here at 190, or just leave it on without a stop, right? Because we're in the minis, if this goes $200 in my favor, I'm immediately putting my stop at like $20, locking in basically a break even, right? And so in the micros, you can't do this because it moves $200 in your favor. You're only up $20. It doesn't make sense, right? But like right there, we're up 80. Now we're up 60, 130. There's 145, 130. Now we're up 175, 190. There's 200. So I'm going to go ahead and lock in 55 is fine. Now we're up 300. I'm going to lock in 80. This is what I do all the time in the minis. I don't do this in the micros, but I do it in the minis. And we're just trading with the momentum. There's 300. I'm going to go ahead and lock in 80. Price action is kind of having a hard time in here. So I'm going to go ahead and lock in 105 just to lock in a little bit more profits. You know, worst case scenario, we make 145. We're up 360. Now we're up 400. I'm going to lock in 165. Lock in 190 now that we're up 425. Up 450, up 400. I'm going to lock in 205. Now we're up 470. I'm going to go ahead and lock in 330. Up 515. I'm going to lock in 370. And see, as you can tell, right, the farther we go into the numbers, the tighter my stop becomes to lock in more of the potential profit. I do that all the time on the minis. So the micros, I have to get size. So I need inventory to get the size off. In the minis, I'm just trading momentum. And if the momentum doesn't happen when we're up $200, well, in worst case scenarios, we have a free trade. Maybe a little bit of Starbucks money, up maybe $20, $15, right? But that's the power of trailing your stop and possible momentum. My best trades off of that with one contract are usually around $18 to $22, $2,300. If you really get a really good strong pull of momentum right after your entry. And usually the risk on these are between about $400 or $500. And that's one of the reasons why I stopped doing it, is because $400 or $500 risk on a continuous basis in this type of in a prop account is quite a bit. It's quite a bit of a hit in that overall context. And that's just a pullback into a higher volume area, anticipating trend continuation. Why a higher volume area? Because it should act like magnet anyhow. You're anticipating a little bit of rotation in there, but it should act as rejection as long as you move back into overall direction. Can it break and move higher here? Of course it can, but we have a level of resistance there. And so those are the two different styles of trading. One's momentum based, and then one is inventory base, adding into your positions, scaling in, scaling out. And the scaling in, scaling out keeps your initial loss very low, because hopefully on most of your expenses, they just kind of go against you and you don't have time or a place to really be able to start to scale inventory into your trades. And you really can't add size to the momentum trade through the minis because of the overall risk in those positions in the first place. And because you're in the minis, you can't do any form of asset management at all to any of your positions because you're limited to the amount of minis that you're able to trade. And like you guys saw there, it's going to take 10 to 15. And we are only looking at, in this case, 12. It's not enough. 12 is not enough. And we're only looking at 5 on Blue Sky, which is definitely not enough. Any other thoughts? Any other ideas? Questions? JD, are you still with us? I know you said hi there, but you didn't say anything else after that. So just checking in with you, making sure you're good. Ram, what do I do in my free time? Right now, you see it. Everything that I'm doing right now in my life is to do this. I mean, like my family right now is in Myrtle Beach. They just left, yesterday. And so I got them ready and got them out of here. But I'm sticking around. So what I normally do with my free time, I'm kind of a private person. Um, a few friends, play some cards, go out to a river or a lake someplace, those type of things, just kind of just chill, relax in nature. I love hiking. Um, But right now, almost all of my time is consumed into this. I'm working 14 to 16-hour days right now, trying to put this together, streaming, doing videos for, I'm writing scripts and doing all that stuff through Live the Return. I'm pretty busy right now. So what do I do on my free time right now? This is it. This is actually holding on to the stream right now. This late is actually cutting into the little bit of free time that I have, because by 5 o'clock today, 5:30, somewhere right around there, pretty much whenever I end the stream, I got to go and start recording short and long form videos. And I'll probably do that for about an hour, and then work on some work that I need to do for instructional videos to be able to put in Discord and those sort of things. And then I still have to work out today too. I haven't worked out for the last couple days. I need to go and work out, especially with the amount of time that I'm doing sitting and those type of things right now. I really need to be cognizant of that. The last thing I need is more blood clots. When I had all my toys, I used to love going out for drives. Take my SRT out on the track. Used to take my Camaro out on like some windy roads and stuff and just go out and just play. Love to drive. Love to drive. But, you know, it's all relative, right? You driving like a RAV4 or, you know, something along those lines, not near as fun as like a Jeep SRT or a I don't want to say a Maserati. No, that was not that fun to drive. I love my Camaro. I love my Mustang. I love my Jeep SRT. Just stuff like that. But right now, yeah, there's no free time, and that's okay. I've designed it that way. And I never plan on retiring. I have no desire to retire. All my friends, everybody else that I know that have retired or retired early, they're bored and they pass away early. No, thank you. Kind of boring. Just passionate. That's really what it boils down to. I'm very passionate. I love what I do. How about you? What do you like to do in your free time? Anything fun and exciting? Better lose money in trading than passing away. I love it. You know, I mean, I don't know. I've been doing pretty well in my trading. And so trading to me is after retirement. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Well, and hopefully too, right? My other stuff picks up that I'm working on. That's kind of my goal. Let my other stuff pick up, you know, and I would really love to travel the world and just meet with people, work with people. You know, I love working with intentional people. I love it. I love surrounding myself with intentional people. The problem is there's not a ton of intentional people out there. You know, we're so jaded and broken and stuck in this life that we're living, and we just don't see a way out. And then you have all the individuals out there of, you know, mindsets and grind sets and the healing and everything else. It's just like, oh my God, will you give it a rest? I would like to hope I can end up providing some sort of benefit to this planet that I was here and I lived. Not so my name can be remembered. You know, I'm not concerned about that. But my life impacted other people in a meaningful way. That's the legacy that I want to leave. I want to leave. And I don't care how many people that is. But I want to keep moving into that vision. Anything else? Like last night, I got bored. Wasn't bored. I was so tired. I was so tired. I was supposed to record videos last night, and I was just so tired I couldn't. And so I got off the stream. I think at like 4:30. I made dinner, and then I watched a movie. I watched Riddick because it's like a mindless movie. It doesn't even matter. And then I went to bed at like 7:30, and so I got some sleep last night, and I feel much better. Do you get pain in the eyes reading those order flows? No, I don't. No, I don't get headaches from the screens. I don't do anything else. I mean, I don't know. I'm a machine. I am a machine, Prath. I could look at charts 12, 16 hours a day and not get bored. I love this. I can eat me through some charts. And then like this right here, this would bug my eyes after a while. But I just go like that and it's fine again. Any prediction on price action of tomorrow based on a higher time frame? So based on the higher time frames at the moment, let's go ahead and get over to the live charts and see if we can see anything in terms of what we would expect price action to do tomorrow. Again, not predictions, right? Because the market can do anything. What I'm here to do is to get an idea of what it could do. And if it did that, how would I act or react to that information? So we're back onto the minis now. I'm on minis in all of them. Let's go ahead and go into a live connection now. And let's take a look at the longer term charts. Oh, well, okay. Yes. Thank you. And it's connecting now. I mean, yesterday was pretty easy, right? I mean, you come up, you come down, right? You're coming off of a daily configuration where, you know, you're looking pretty good to the long side. And then it just continued. Still an overall ranged market condition, right? But looking pretty good to the long side. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and start with this chart here. All right. So if we're looking at this chart, which is the daily perspective, right? Our longest time frame chart with most everything on it. What are we doing? We're trading in our range of value, right? We're in unfair highs. We're in unfair highs. we're almost to value area high. Price action might break 300,000, but I would be anticipating potential, God bless it. I'd be anticipating potential rejection around this area and around here going into the next session. In those rotations, I would anticipate price action to possibly come and test this area, possibly come and test this area. And there's a possibility if this area tests, we could rotate into lower areas of value or break up, hold this area and continue to trade in the upward direction. We did get through this area of value and overall value. Price action came up basically into this high volume node, right? And now we're trading off of it. So if anything, I would anticipate rotation between these two areas or between these areas within the Asia London session. Now, how does that correlate to this? So this, our daily perspective, but only the US session, right? We gapped up. We came in and we tested these highs. Now look at this profile. We kind of have a double distribution, but today was a very low volume day. Okay. This was a high volume day. You see the difference? We had high volume down here. We had high volume in here. We had high volume and we had high volume. But if you look at this day had less volume even in the lowest volume area of this particular profile. You see that? Very, very low volume. So we went up on low volume. All right. What happens when volume comes back into this market? Higher probability of a rotation lower. Why? Because we came up on low volume, high volume. Like in here, right? We had the high volume kind of at this low of this area. Price action came up and came back down and tested into it. I'm expecting us to move away from this day. And the fact that we keep rejecting highs, I'm kind of anticipating a rotation to the downside if higher volume comes back into the market. Possibly an inside day, a very tight inside day in order to be able to create volume into this area because it's such low volume. So rotation, I'm looking at a much more rotational market for tomorrow and for the Asian session rather than a continuation play to the upside. And if that market becomes rotational, what does that look like in our 30-minute time frame? Well, we're in here. So what does rotation look like? Let me delete some of these lines so we can make it a little bit easier to see. I think I'm going to have to do that from the longer time frame perspective, because I think a lot of those are drawn from this time frame. And then let's get rid of some of these too. Like this one right here, I think we can get rid of. Actually, that's from that time frame as well. Okay, good. Is this? Where is this one coming from? It has to be coming from this chart. Oh, it's right here. There we go. Good. Okay, that's better. Now the chart's a little bit cleaner, not so many lines, and let's bring this over here so everybody can see it. So we got these low volume nodes in here, right? I'm anticipating price action to possibly continue to rotate lower into value, especially into the Asia session. Why? Because if you look at this area right here, okay, we have inside bar, all of these are inside bars. We tried to create a range extension lower, But up here, we were not able to get any buying pressure. So I'm anticipating this low to break here, or at least be tested. If we don't break this low, we could rotate back up into this area, possibly in here. But as it stands right now, with price action where it's at and trading the way that it is, I think it's more probable that we're going to come down and test this low. And if we test this low, I'm expecting it to probably break, especially if higher volume comes into the market. Now, in this full context, right, we broke back up again. Price action's now trading into the highs and about the mid-range of this little area. That could act as support. But if we get through those lows, if we do break this and get through these lows right here, then I'm anticipating us to come back down and trade at least into these high volume nodes, especially this one right here. And then that creates more of the rotational market that I'm looking for the Asian and the London session. You know, I'll be streaming until my 80s. You know what, Prath? Absolutely. That is my goal. I'm going to be here as an old man with no hair anymore, and I'm just going to be talking. I'm going to have that old man voice and probably a cane or a walker, and individuals might be laughing at me, but I don't care because I'm still doing what I love. That's exactly what's going to happen. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of what I'm seeing in the market. I would probably have a different perspective from today if today was in a higher volume, but with the low volume today, I just think this looks like a forced trend to me. And once individuals come back into the market heavier, I think they're going to bring this back down. And forced trends, they just go up and they just keep on going up, and there's not a lot of pullbacks to them. There's not a lot of deep pullbacks. There's not a lot of anything else. It's just, you know, basically retail traders creating the up move. I think there's going to be some sort of news, something else that's going to bring the volume back into the market, and I think we're going to see ourselves rotate back down into lower areas of value. Any other questions? And again, not predictions. Take that information and turn them into scenarios. And then as your scenarios start to play out, how are you going to execute around them? That's what we want to be concerned with. A lot of people take trading and they want to be right. I don't care about being right. I care about being able to create scenarios that I can execute around that are aligned to my intention of what it is that I want to create. And if you don't know what intention you want to create out of the markets or why you're trading in the first place, well, then you may want to define that before you go any further. Well, on that note, we're at 5:04 p.m. I need to go and get some recording of these videos done. So I've got material that I can take and upload this week and next week. I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate the questions. I love the charts. I love going through that process. I think that's a good segment for the show, if you will. I think that provides value to the other people in the community. I think that's extremely helpful. So I'd like to continue doing that. So if you ever have a chart that you want to upload and have me look at or anything along those lines, I think eventually I'd like to have people come on too and share their perspective, because this isn't about, you know, Tony's perspective of the markets, right? This is about growing together. And the way we do that is share our perspectives. and no perspective is wrong. Just don't come at me with mathematical magic numbers. I'm going to have an issue with that. Because I know better. On that note, thank you all so much for being here. I love learning with you guys as well. Thank you so much, Alam. Thank you so much, Dex. I haven't seen you before. I haven't seen you. Thank you so much for coming in and saying something. Would love for you to come on and share your perspective. Let me get a little bit more comfortable in my streaming. This is only my second week of doing this. Well, no, this is my start of my third. This is I guess towards the end of my third week. So yeah, give me a couple more sessions. Still working on getting the whole live thing down while I'm trying to teach and stuff too. But yeah, let's put that into the basket of let's get that going here real soon, because I would love to have individuals on, share their perspective. Let's talk about the markets. Let's not make it just about me, right? Let's bring other ideas. Let's not make it about auction market theory. Let's make it about things that people can use and tools to move them towards and move them forward in their development. Your second week? Yeah, that's it. Dex, I've been doing videos for long form and short since January. But this is the first time I've ever streamed. So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. This is why I don't have chat up yet and follow alerts and different things along those lines, because I'm new to all of this, and I do have a guy that works on that stuff, and he's been really busy with life right now, so hasn't been able to work on those things. But yeah, no, this is just me not knowing what I'm doing and just doing something. So thank you. I appreciate the commentary there, the compliment for, second week. Amazing. I appreciate you. I'm grateful you came over here. We do have a Discord community. Everything is free. So I'm not saying, oh yeah, come on Discord and, subscribe, or no, I do have a Discord community. So if you ever want to share anything along in those lines, go ahead and come on in. Do !Discord in the chat right now in YouTube. I do it for you. I don't have the mechanism set up for me to be able to enter things into chat through YouTube. But yeah, if you want to come on in, share your chart, share your point of view. We would love to have you. We've got a great community that we're building over there that are already doing that. I love it. I'm expecting retracement to PWVL during Asian London session. Yeah, exactly. I'm just expecting rotation into the Asian London session this morning, or this evening. I'm not expecting a continuation to the up move right now, upside. I'm just not. Not that it can't happen. I'm just not anticipating it. But what would it look like if it did happen? Exactly this. Price action comes up, pulls back, moves up, entry around this area. And so what does that mean? What did I just do there, right? I created the possibility of that happening. I don't expect it to happen, but the markets don't care about what Tony expects, right? The market only cares about participants. And so if participants decide to move this higher, that's what I would be looking for a potential long position above the 30,000 area, which makes sense in overall price action so far. And every time we've been hitting the 30,000, what have we been doing? We've been rejecting it for the most part. And we came above it here, but this was over a week ago. And the last week, since we've gotten below it, we've been hitting it as resistance. So keep all of that in mind. Thank you so much. I would join the community and keep up with lives. Absolutely, Dex. Yeah, come on over anytime you want to. When you feel free. It's always open and it's always free. I'm also doing some videos in there too for training videos, and I'm going to be working on those quite a bit this weekend. I might even go live and build some of those live, and then just go ahead and record them and keep them there just in segmented recordings, so they're there. I don't know. I think being live helps me stay more focused. I tend to get ideas and talk around them a lot, trying to see holes in them and those type of things. But when I'm live, I hold myself much more accountable. So I stay much more focused and much more on point. So I might do those live, but then break them up into training. And that's going to be on volume profiling, how to read the longer terms, how to read the shorter terms, how to build areas for anybody that's, struggling and just creating their own form of pre-market analysis that they can utilize to create a plan out of, because you get stuck in indicators and those type of things sometimes, or even just price action, right? You make the same type of plan for all market conditions, but market conditions change. And if you're not adjusting what you're doing to the market conditions, you're going to be a one-trick pony. You're going to be able to do well in a trading market or an arranged market or something along those lines, but your market that your methodology works with really well, if it's not adapting to the changes of the conditions, then you're going to do well in certain areas and not do well in others. That's kind of what I'm trying to show as well. And then, of course, the psychology behind it, but not psychology as in what mainstream psychology is doing. Bring it back into what we're really truly understanding in neuroscience, how the central nervous system works and how we apply that information and create a methodology for us, not as in here's the answer, but for individuals to say, okay, how do we apply focus, urgency, and all those things? And then an action, and then turn around and allow sleep to adjust and create a new current for us to flow in. Rather than trying to change ourselves, trying to fix ourselves, right? Let's look at the actual thing that's happening, see it properly, and then create a new flow, a new river, so we can get caught up in that current to take us to where we want to go. Because if the current river was capable and its current was capable of taking us where we wanted to go, we'd already be there. The fact that we're here, working on our trading, developing in it, means that we're developing into that. That means our current flow, our current river isn't able to take us there. I like it like this, right? Say you want an ice cream cone. You go get an ice cream cone. Well, while you're eating the ice cream cone, you're not thinking, man, I really want an ice cream cone. You're enjoying the ice cream cone that you have. We only want something when we don't have it. And we don't realize that the river that we're flowing on is keeping us from getting where we want to go. It's not us. It's that current. And it's all about creating a new one. Anyways, good times. Again, appreciate you guys very much. This is absolutely awesome. Dex, thank you for coming out of the woodworks and coming into the chat and being a part of this. I know you're a part of it on your side too. I just want you to know that you being in chat and talking like this makes it meaningful for me as well. So thank you. I do truly appreciate you speaking up. On that note, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I truly appreciate you. The fact that you're willing to spend your time, your precious, most valuable commodity that you have, your time with me, I'm grateful. That's all I can say about that. Truly, truly grateful. Why anybody would want to do that, I don't know, but you guys do, and I'm grateful that you do. Thank you so much for all the support that you give me, for the follows, for the subscriptions, the value that you guys provide just for being here and making me better. And on that note, I hope everybody has a great evening or a great day, great night, wherever you are in the world. I hope you all sleep well, and I hope tomorrow is another day that you're able to move into your intentions. And may you walk the path of your intentions. Wow, it was such a wise man. Thank you for your words. Dex, thank you for the compliment again. I appreciate it. I've lived a lot of life, a lot of life. A lot of life that almost killed me in 2023. Not from a near-death experience. It's not where I'm coming from by any stretch of the imagination. Nothing religious, nothing spiritual, nothing woo, right? It came from a lot of trauma. I came from a very bad divorce in 2019. I've come from states of depression, of anxiety. I'm one of the fortunate ones that have been able to walk out of that. And now I just want to share that experience with people, not because it's the right path, if you will. It's a path that I was able to use. Now, how do we take that path and align it to you as an individual? Because the destination is the same. How do I support you getting to that destination that you want? Yeah, that's about it. All right, everybody. Thank you. Enjoy. Remember, be safe, be kind, and know that you are loved. I love you. Thank you so much. Love this community. Love you guys. Love being here. Enjoy, everyone.